Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel Sleep Tech Guide. Today we are going to learn something very interesting and practical in sleep medicine, how we actually diagnose sleep disorders. So the topic of the presentation is comprehensive overview of diagnostic approaches in sleep medicine. By the end of this video, you will clearly understand the major sleep tests and when they are used. Before we begin, let me quickly show you our roadmap for today. We will start with the importance of sleep diagnostics, then move step by step through PSG, MSLT, MWT, and actigraphy. And finally, I will test you with a short quiz at the end. So stay with me till the last slide because the quiz will be fun. Let me ask you a question first. Have you ever met a patient who sleeps the whole night but still feels exhausted? This is exactly why sleep diagnostics are important. So, the sleep diagnostics help us to understand what is really happening during the sleep and guide the correct treatment. The four diagnostic methods are there. First, polysomnography, which is the comprehensive sleep evaluation and commonly indicated in sleep apnea and insomnia patients. Other is MSLT, assessing excessive sleepiness, and the common indications are narcolepsy and hypersomnia. Third is MWT, which measures the ability to stay awake and responds to treat for excessive sleepiness. And fourth is actigraphy, which monitor the sleep-wake cycles, and it is commonly indicated in circadian rhythm disorders and the restless leg syndromes. So first, we will discuss the polysomnography, which is commonly called PSG. Now imagine you could watch the brain, heart, breathing, oxygen, and muscles all at the same time during sleep. This is exactly what polysomnography does. And this is why we call it a gold standard sleep study. So, the parameters which we record during the polysomnography are EEG, electroencephalography, electrooculogram, electromyogram, ECG, electrocardiogram, airflow, and oxygen saturation. The equipments which we use during the test are electrodes, nasal cannulas, thermistors, rib belts, piezoelectric snore sensors, and the pulse oximeter. And the duration should be of two types: full night diagnostic study or full night titration study. And the another one is split night sleep study. So, when do we actually order polysomnography? It is indicated in obstructive sleep apnea, central sleep apnea, narcolepsy, insomnia, and the periodic limb movement disorders. But here is something interesting. Night testing alone is not always enough. Sometimes we must measure what happens during the day, especially sleepiness and alertness. And this brings us to the next important test, which is multiple sleep latency test. If a patient keeps falling asleep during the day, what should we measure? Exactly how fast they fall asleep. This is the purpose of the multiple sleep latency test, MSLT, and it is used for diagnosing the narcolepsy. In this test, the patient is given 4 to 5 nap opportunities every 2 hours after a full overnight polysomnography. So basically, it is a controlled nap experiment. During each nap, we carefully record start and end time of each nap, sleep latency, and RAM at sleep onset. So these small numbers tell us a big clinical story. Here is the key exam point. If the mean sleep latency is less than 8 minutes, we consider it abnormal sleepiness and often suggesting narcolepsy as well. And don't worry, the calculation is simple. Add all nap latencies, divide by the number of naps, and you get the mean sleep latency. Okay. Now let me confuse you a little. What if instead of asking how fast do you fall asleep, we ask can you stay awake? This is the completely different concept, and that is the maintenance of wakefulness test, which is oftenly called MWT. So, MWT assesses the ability to stay awake in a comfortable, quiet environment and to determine the response of treatment for excessive sleepiness or to determine the alertness of an individual during the day. The parameter which we measure is the duration of wakefulness. Assessment is 20 to 40 minutes, and the short duration indicates the potential sleep disorder. We use MWT mainly for checking treatment options, safety for driving or jobs, chronic hypersomnia, and so this test is very important in real life functioning. So let's make this super clear for exams. MSLT, ability to fall asleep. MWT, ability to stay awake. Remember this line, it is very important. This next part is very important for exams and clinical practice. Many students confuse MSLT and MWT, but after this slide, I promise you will never mix them again. Imagine a patient who says, "Doctor, I keep falling asleep during the day." Another patient come and says, "I'm worried I might fall asleep while driving." So, would you order the same test for both? Let's compare MSLT and MWT to find out. So far, we learned that the MSLT measures how fast a patient fall asleep during the day. But let me ask you something in real life. Is the bigger problem always falling asleep, or sometimes the danger is not being able to stay awake? This is exactly why the maintenance of wakefulness test exists. First difference, the main purpose. One test asks, how fast do you fall asleep? The other asks, how well can you stay awake? So already you can see these two answers opposite clinical questions. So naturally, one measures sleep tendency, the other measures wakefulness and alertness. Interestingly, the electrodes and monitoring setups are same in both tests. So the difference is not the equipment, the difference is the goal of the test. Now, one is mainly for diagnosing the narcolepsy and hypersomnia. The other is for safety driving and the work fitness. So think diagnosis versus real life functioning. And here is the simplest memory trick. In one test, the patient is told, please try to sleep. In the other test, the patient is told, please try to stay awake. Same quiet room but opposite instructions. If you understand this table, you can solve almost exam question on daytime sleepiness. First row, number of trials. One test usually has 4 to 5 nap opportunities. The other has about 4 wake trials. So immediately think naps versus staying awake sessions. But notice something important. Both are spaced every 2 hours. This keeps the testing in standardized and fair. Now, this is where students often mix things up. During the nap test, the patient must stay out of bed between the naps and not sleep accidentally. But during the wakefulness test, the patient is not allowed to use tricks like slapping, standing, or watching TV to stay awake. So, one prevents the extra sleep, the other prevents the artificial wakefulness. Very important exam point here, RAM detection is critical in the nap test because early RAM suggests narcolepsy. But in the wakefulness test, RAM is not the main focus. This line alone can appear in MCQs as well. Another practical clinical detail, the nap test is strongly affected by stimulants and antidepressants. So they are often stopped about 2 weeks before testing, while wakefulness test is also influenced by the caffeine, tobacco, and other medications. Now look carefully at the outcomes. One measures sleep onset latency, how fast sleep begins. The other measures wake latency, how long the patient can resist sleep. Again, sleep tendency versus wake ability. Clinically, the nap test is best for diagnosing narcolepsy because RAM appears quickly. The wakefulness test is best for daytime alertness and the treatment response. Final high yield difference, overnight sleep study is mandatory before the nap test, but not always required before the wakefulness test. So, in one simple sentence, MSLT diagnose sleepiness, MWT evaluate safety and alertness during daytime. If you remember this, you will never confuse these two tests again. Alright, everyone, now focus here. This table is the most important concept in today's session. We are looking at the same patient, the same NAP trials, but two different tests. So the big question is, will the final result be same or different? Let's analyze it together. In trial 1, the patient asleep in 5 minutes. So both MSLT and MWT record 5 minutes here. In trial 2, sleep occurred at 12 minutes. Again, the value is same in both tests. Now look carefully at trial 3. This is where things become interesting. The patient did not fall asleep. In MSLT, we stop the nap at 20 minutes, but in NWT, the goal is to stay awake. So the trial continues to 40 minutes. And this single difference changed the entire final interpretation. In trial 4, sleep occurs at 10 minutes, and in trial 5, sleep both values remain same in MSLT and MWT 8 minutes. Okay, when we calculate the total latency, MSLT gives 55 minutes and MWT gives 75 minutes. So the mean latencies become 11 minutes in MSLT and 15 minutes in MWT. So what does this tell us clinically? The patient appears more sleepy in MSLT but more alert in NWT. And this clearly shows why MSLT measures the sleep tendency while MWT measures the ability to remain awake. Now, a quick question for you. If you were assessing fitness to drive, which test would you be more useful, MSLT or MWT? Think about it and comment me. Now think modern technology, a watch-like device that records sleep for days to weeks. This is actigraphy, simple, non-invasive, and very practical. It continuously records body movement, and software converts that into sleep duration and quality. So we use the parameter activity level. We measure the counts per minute, and the data which we achieved are the sleep efficiency and the total sleep time. Guidelines recommend 7 to 14 days of monitoring to capture real life sleep patterns. Especially used for circadian rhythm disorders, insomnia, hypersomnia, children and infants for whom a normal PSG may be difficult to perform, and to monitor the restless leg syndrome or periodic limb movement disorders. So, actigraphy is excellent for long term sleep behaviors. Now, let's we just wrap up the presentation. Let's quickly revise like exam preparation. Each diagnostic method serves a specific purpose, significantly enhance the patient care and treatment efficacy. PSG, which is the main diagnostic test and the cornerstone for complex sleep disorders. MSLT and MWT measure the daytime functioning, and the actigraphy, which is long term pattern to assess the patient behavior over time. Simple and clear. Now it's your turn. I'll ask a few questions. Pause the video, answer, then continue. What is the primary purpose of MSLT? The four options are here: to measure the ability to stay awake in a quiet room, to quantify physiological sleepiness and check for REM onset, to diagnose the sleep apnea during the day, and to measure the lung function during sleep. So, what should be the answer? B. To quantify physiological sleepiness and check for REM onset. Second is, what are the instructions given to the patient during an MWT? Please try to fall asleep as fast as you can. Close your eyes, relax, and nap. Sit still, look forward, and try to remain awake. Read a book until you feel sleepy. So it is a MWT, and we assess the wakefulness and alertness during the test. So the answer should be sit still, look forward, and try to remain awake. Which of the following is true regarding the MSLT protocol? It consists of 40 minutes trial. It is done without a prior sleep study. Include 50, sorry, it includes 5 20-minute nap opportunities separated by 2 hours, and the patient must stay standing between the naps. We already discussed in the previous slides that it includes 5 20-minute nap opportunities, which is separated by 2 hours. 4 is what is considered a pathological abnormal mean sleep latency in an MSLT test. Less than 5 minutes, less than 15 minutes, more than 20 minutes, and exactly the 10 minutes. So, what is the criteria? Mean sleep latency. If the mean sleep latency is less than 8 minutes, that shows it is the abnormal pattern. So, in these options, less than 5 minutes is the correct answer. Actigraphy is specifically indicated for which of the following scenarios? Confirming a diagnosis of OSA, PLMD, evaluating total sleep time in patients with insomnia, and identifying the split night protocol necessity. So the answer should be C. 6 is what can be the shortest nap duration for MSLT nap? 20 minute, 15 minute, 45 minute, and 60 minute. We saw in the previous slide as well when the patient in trial 3, when the patient didn't fall asleep, we record the nap. What is the time in the nap? It is 20 minutes. So the shortest nap duration for MSLT nap is 20 minutes. Excellent work, everyone. If this session helped you understand sleep diagnostics better, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your classmates as well. See you in the next lecture. Thank you.